Imagine picking up a copy of Moby Dick and getting an actual high from touching the pages.
Or having billionaires bid on your teenage brain like it's a luxury auction item.
Welcome to 2037, where books are laced with drugs and your SAT scores might just make you property of the Queen of England.
Or the Queen of England even, as happens in Chuck Palahniuk's latest novel, Shock Induction.
Latest as at the time of recording. If it is not the latest anymore, and his satire has become reality, all the best to you, my friend.
Let's dive right into the Enhanced Reader Edition project, EREP. It started with this seemingly brilliant idea to get kids reading again.
Yeah, because nothing says education reform like putting pharmaceuticals directly into the Great Gatsby.
The idea behind EREP is fascinating though. Initially, they wanted to close the educational achievement gap by making these classic works more engaging.
Started innocently enough, caffeine, valerian root. Just enough to make Shakespeare a little more interesting.
And that senator's quote really captures it all. Why put the drugs in the kids when we can put them in the books?
But like all seemingly brilliant ideas, things take a dark turn. Pretty soon they're adding stronger medications, Adderall, Ritalin, and then it gets worse.
The novel really shows how easily a simple solution can spiral into something dangerous. You've got bootleg editions laced with opiates, psychedelics, kids literally dying from reading The Count of Monte Cristo.
It's like the author is holding up this cracked mirror to our quick fix culture, always looking for that shortcut, that easy solution, even if it means taking some pretty big risks. Enter our protagonist, Samantha Deel, deaf, brilliant, and absolutely not here for any of this nonsense.
Her deafness isn't just a characteristic, it's central to how she experiences this world gone mad. She actually lost her hearing from an aspirin overdose as a child.
Trying to be like other deaf geniuses, Thomas Edison, Beethoven, Howard Hughes.
It's fascinating how her disability becomes this lens through which she sees all this manipulation and control. And then she gets caught up in greener pastures. Oh man, greener pastures. Talk about dystopian capitalism on steroids.
Literally auctioning off high-potential kids to the highest bidder. Want to own the next tech genius? There's an app for that.
Let's talk about the orphanage. This luxury facility where they prep the kids for auction.
It's like Hogwarts run by the Wolf of Wall Street, except instead of learning magic, you're learning how to be the perfect commodity.
The place offers these kids a life of privilege and opportunity. But at what cost? They lose their freedom, their individuality.
They're constantly being monitored, molded, shaped into this perfect product ready for auction. These kids are called disruptors, individuals who could change the world.
But instead they're being channeled, their potential exploited.
It raises some really uncomfortable questions about who gets to decide what potential looks like. What happens to those deemed not valuable enough?
But here's where it gets really fascinating. This isn't just Palahniuk doing his usual shock tactics. This is vintage Palahniuk enhanced for our modern anxieties.
You can really see the William S. Burroughs influence here. The fragmented storytelling, the hallucinatory imagery. It's like Naked Lunch meets Black Mirror.
And like Burroughs, he's using shock not just to provoke, but as this philosophical tool to disrupt our perceptions.
Exactly. The drugged books, the hypnotic writing techniques. It's all part of this larger experiment in perception. Palahniuk actually went to hypnotist conventions to learn their techniques.
That word avocado that keeps appearing throughout the book. It's this hypnotic anchor that's supposed to make you more susceptible to suggestion.
He's literally trying to drug us with words while writing about drugged books. It's meta, but in that classic Palahniuk way. He's not just showing us the manipulation, he's making us feel it.
And that's what makes this feel like such a return to form. He's taking those transgressive fiction techniques from the 90s, but updating them for our modern anxieties about technology, surveillance, and control.
The way he uses these Burroughs-style routines to expose societal hypocrisy, it's like he's saying, hey, you think Fight Club was intense? Hold my avocado?
So Samantha's stuck in this system. How does she fight back?
She goes back home, faces her dysfunctional family. They're all addicted to NyQuil, trying to numb themselves.
And then there's that whole scene with her uncle faking paralysis, manipulating her all along.
It pushes her over the edge, and she finds out how her boyfriend got his parents punished.
But she doesn't just disappear. She goes back to the orphanage.
This time with a plan, aware that her destiny is to destroy the greener pastures.
And then comes that final act, triggering limbic eruption during the annual alumni conference, finishing everyone off in the kind of chaos that Palahniuk loves.
And that's when all those former products have grown up, are running the world, thinking they're invincible.
You know what's really striking about Shock Induction? It feels like vintage Palahniuk is back after a long break.
But instead of targeting consumer culture, he's taking aim at our obsession with optimization, with turning everything, even human potential, into a commodity.
And like his earlier work, he's not just telling us about these problems, he's making us feel them in our gut.
That's the Burroughs influence again. The way the story fragments, the way reality starts to break down. It's not just style, it's substance.
It's like he's saying, you want to talk about enhancement? Let me show you what real enhancement looks like. Whether it's drugged books or selling kids to billionaires, he's asking us, how far will we go to fix society's problems?
And maybe more importantly, what happens to the kids who don't make the cut?
Palahniuk doesn't give us answers, he gives us a grenade.
But that is just what we think. In a world that wants to package and sell your potential, what will you choose?
Whatever you choose, remember to keep questioning. Keep exploring and maybe think twice before licking any suspicious-looking books.